Good afternoon, Mr. Oi Lian Hing, President Shipping Association of Malaysia, Shipping Association of Malaysia Exco and Task Force, carriers and shipping agents, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from Quantum Ivory Sdn Bhd. We wish to thank you for being here for today's briefing entitled iCargo Plus, Securing Container Claims and Recoveries for Carriers at No Extra Cost. To begin today's briefing, we shall have the opening speech by Mr. Chua Hock Peng, CEO of Quantum Ivory Sdn Bhd. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Oi Lian Hing, President of Shipping Association Malaysia, SAM ESCOs and Task Force members, carriers and shipping agents, distinguished guests and business associations, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from Quantum Ivory Sdn Bhd and welcome to today's event for carriers and shipping agents in Malaysia. Our topics today will be iCargo Plus, Securing Container Claims and Recoveries. This is the first of its kind program in Malaysia and Asia Pacific. First and foremost, please allow me to share what iCargo Plus is. In layman's terms, iCargo Plus is a hybrid marine, cargo and container insurance developed to provide alternative and solution to container-related issues, which has been plaguing the industry for many years. Briefly, this is how it works. When merchant and shipper purchase iCargo Plus online via our online claim portal, their cargo will be insured, and container risks such as repair costs, demurrage, and detention is automatically covered. There is no additional premium for container coverage. It is complimentary. In return, we wish participating carriers and shipping agents do not collect container deposit from them. It is also a fact that iCargo Plus is a class above the traditional marine cargo insurance that is currently available in the market because it has a wider coverage and does not cost extra. My partner, Kwa, will share the details of iCargo Plus later. We had conducted extensive research on this program before launching it, and had also discussed at length with the SAM Task Force to ensure this program mitigate the risk of carriers and shipping agents. Therefore, carrier and shipping agents can rest assured that their interests are protected with iCargo Plus. Now, let's take a look at how iCargo Plus will have an impact on carrier and shipping agent, and why carrier and shipping agents should seriously consider and participate. For carriers' perspective, iCargo Plus ensure that repair costs D&D are secured. Okay. For other logistic players, iCargo Plus will reduce conflict among industry players on container-related issues. For merchant, iCargo Plus ensure that merchant has a better coverage, need not pay extra premium, and need not place container deposit. We would like to take this opportunity to thank carriers and shipping agents who have signed up and participated in our programs. We also would like to thank SAM and its task force for their significant contribution to iCargo Plus program. We hope that there will be more carriers and shipping agents signing up and participate in iCargo Plus program after this event. Let's work together to make a paradigm shift in shipping industry, and together we take charge of our destiny before someone else do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chua. Next, we would like to invite our special guest, Mr. Oi Lian Hing, President of Shipping Association of Malaysia, to give his speech.
Mr. Chua, Hock Peng, CEO, Quantum Ivory, where are you? Mr. Kwa Kong Yi, the CEO of Quantum Ivory, fellow colleagues, SAM members, very good afternoon to all of you. Foremost, let me first congratulate Quantum Ivory for the launch of iCargo, iCargo Plus. Yeah? I would say a very innovative approach to marine cargo cover insurance and the securing of container claims with regards to D&D charges and container damage recoveries. Under iCargo Comprehensive Marine Cargo Insurance, as you have heard from Mr. Chua this afternoon, it's not just marine cover now, it's got marine cover. That's why the word plus. The plus comes with no additional premium to your client. As you are fully aware, the global container shipping industry has gone through very, very significant and serious industry reforms and consolidation, resulting in carriers and agents like us having to take full responsibility for collection of D&D charges as well as the container damage recoveries. I mean, the business has become so tough that the agent, the poor agent, has to take on this responsibility of making sure that we are able to collect container detention and demurrage charges as well as damage recovery charges. I think you're all very familiar with that, the hassle that we have dealing with the client as well as with the principals with regards to this part of the job as the shipping agent. Consequently, in order to protect carriers and agents on such risks, we have embarked on collecting security deposits. And this means of securing our risks is actually proliferating among our membership, and it's becoming quite a serious problem for the custom brokerage community in dealing with carriers on the day-to-day exchange of the delivery order. Now they have to put security deposit. I also hear some as high as 10,000 ringgit per container also have already, So this is actually a day-to-day real problem that custom brokers are currently facing with carriers. But at the same time, the carrier has a responsibility. I just told you, we have to take full responsibility, so we have to mitigate our risks, right? This kind of collection of security deposit, of course, result in quite a big issue for the custom broker industry in respect of what? In respect of cash flow, right? Imagine if you have to pay 10,000 ringgit per container. Of course, it is not as bad as that. I'm just giving you one extreme case. And you've got 10 containers coming through on the bill of lading. The poor custom broker would have to pay 100,000 security deposit check. Now, whether the check is bank in or not bank in is up to the agent. If bank in means 100,000 already in the bank account. And if you're a forwarding agent, which some of us are also custom broker, you will understand how serious this problem is. It's actually something that creates a big issue for the forwarding agent in respect of his cash flow management. Right? Now, apart from that, assuming the custom broker's check is not being banked in by the carrier, which also is the case today. But of course, if you issue a check, if you're an accountant, you will never feel comfortable because the check is floating there. Any day the check is banked and there's no money in the bank means you got blacklisted by the bank. So it's actually not a very good practice, but because we are trying to protect ourselves, understandably, right? This has come to this point. That's why there's a lot of animosity right now building up between SAM and SAFLA. And this problem, as I know, will be escalated to the very, very high up. I mean, they are talking about going to the Minister of Transport, they are talking about going to the Minister of Trade and Industry, they are even talking about going to see our 93-year-old Prime Minister to complain about this problem now. So I think time has come that we have to find a solution to the problem. I mean, we have our side of the story, and they have, of course, their side of the story. Both are actually no right, no wrong. I mean, we are right, we have to protect our interests because we have got bad experience dealing with some merchants who do not owe up to their part of the term and condition. When they damage our container, they refuse to pay. So we have a shortage of recovery. We are exposed. So this is where I think iCargo Plus potentially can provide an alternative solution, you know. And I like to say that it is a very innovative product. When Mr. Hua and Mr. Chua saw us, I still remember at the Sunway Lagoon Resort Hotel for lunch, organized by LPK Chairman Dato' Sri Chang Kong Choi. At that time I was thinking another MC thing. Right? And they presented to us together with the gentleman there from CHAP about this product. At that time it was iCargo. And iCargo was basically what? It was a marine, no, it was not marine cover, it was a container cover covering detention and demurrage charges as well as damage recovery. Something similar to what some of the carriers already have. I won't mention the name of the carrier, but I think you all know who we are referring to. So we told them at that lunch meeting that it's not really going to fly because I don't think the merchant is going to pay for this additional, premium. So they, of course, they put on a smiling face, but I know deep inside they say, "What, man?" Yeah. And I would say that they went back to the drawing board and cleverly and quite innovatively, they have come back with a much improved version of iCargo. It's called iCargo Plus today, and it is basically a marine cover that incorporates D&D charges to a certain limit. I'm sure they will tell you about it. And also damage recovery for carriers, right? So they came back and then they saw our exco, and then we thought, hey, wow, not bad. These guys come back with something interesting. So we then decided to form a task force under SAM to actually further work with them to address the remaining gaps that they have in the product in respect of the protection to the carrier. And I must thank at this juncture here our task force headed by Ben Lai. The members are Stephen, Mr. Wong, Mr. Fong, Murali from New Star, and of course Jason. Are you here, Jason? From Ben Lai. And they have done a good job in addressing all the gaps, the remaining gaps, which I will not go into detail, which I believe Mr. Kwa will cover that in his presentation later, right? Now, like any product, if there is not enough commitment to the product, even though it's a good product, it is not sustainable. Yeah, it's not going to be sustainable. So basically, what SAM has done is that we have done all the work necessary to make this product ideal for the carriers, and we believe it's also ideal for the merchant. But what is required now is for us, SAM members, to actually convince our principals that this is an alternative means of protecting ourselves, an alternative means of doing a more efficient recovery of our demurrage and detention charges, as well as container damage recovery up to the extent of a full container loss, which I understand they also cover right up to the total loss of the container. Right. Now, as agents, we must secure first the principal's endorsement, without which nothing can move. So the first step is we need to get our principals to agree that we can accept this, right? But that's only a small part of the story, ladies and gentlemen. Because if your principals accept this, and I believe they will, but if your customers don't know it, and it's the best kept secret in town, the offtake is not going to be there. And like any business, if the offtake is poor, the product will die a natural death. I'm sure Mr. Chow agrees to that. Because if the population is not big, then of course this is not a sustainable product. So if we think that this is a solution to the current problem that we have in the industry, then I think we have to do something about it. We need to also promote this to all our customers, maybe the importers, right, who have to make a significant change in the way they trade. Because if they're importing on the CNF, then nothing to talk. Whatever clip you have, so cannot clip. Right? Because you are importing CNF. So you need to change, the importer need to change from buying CIF to buying CNF or FOB. Now, if the Minister of Finance is here today, he will be very happy because you are keeping money inside Malaysia. So you are helping Malaysian insurance company. So it should work well for our services deficit, right? But as you know, our customer, the importer, always take the easy way out, right? Okay, buy CIF better, easy. CIF, then pay security deposit, right? But if you want to get away from security deposit, which is something, that you can apply across the whole spectrum of the importing community, unlike the NCD scheme, which is basically confined, there's another scheme called NCD scheme where SAFLA is the body providing it. But that one has got limited scope. If you're not a member of SAFLA, you don't enjoy it. If you're a member of SAFLA but you didn't sign up for it, you also don't enjoy it. If the carrier didn't endorse it, you also cannot use it. So there is so much limitation on the NCD scheme, and it is not as comprehensive as we have seen on the iCargo Plus. So I hope that all of you today will ask as many questions for you to fully understand and clarify whatever clarifications that you need from the quantum RRE management, both Mr. Kwa and Mr. Chua, so that it enables you to fully understand the benefits of iCargo Plus and to also be able to convey this effectively to your principals so that they can understand that this is a good way or instrument that we can use to help mitigate our risk as a carrier in terms of D&D collections and damage recovery, container damage recovery. We also need to commit to selling this in the market to your importer, because if they don't change, it's not going to be something, 1 year's time, I don't think Mr. Chua and Mr. Kwa will be around. Even though they have developed this nice product, I don't think it's going to happen. So it really takes a concerted effort by the community, and I think to start the ball rolling, this should be done, of course not just by us, but we will start the ball rolling from the shipping community like us. We will help to propagate this. After all, it costs us nothing. It improves our collection. It improves our D&D collection. The first 14 days, no need to give discount anymore. They cover it. And now everybody also giving discount, right? So first 14 days, right? Cover after 14 days, right? Am I right to say that? 14 days, right? So the first 14 days, ladies and gentlemen, no discount. pay full, insurance company pay. So why not? It benefits us. So I think solve a lot of problems, solve a lot of battle between us and SAFLA member. I got Dato Tony Chia calling me the other day, after a heated dialogue with some carrier, I also don't know how to help him. Want to escalate him, each party had to protect their own turf. Of course, I understand where they're coming from because I also a custom broker. I know the problems associated with security deposit, right? And you need a lot of cash today, in your bank account to be a forwarding agent. Plus, the money paid here to the carrier sometimes take a long time to come back also. So, with this, I'd like to once again congratulate Mr. Chua and Mr. Kwa for taking the very, very bold initiative. I know you have invested quite a lot into this product, and I hope you will be able to achieve success in this product, which perhaps can be something that Malaysia can be proud of in terms of resolving issues like security deposit, and hopefully be an example to the rest of the world, because security deposits don't just exist in Malaysia, they do exist in other jurisdictions as well, other countries as well. Of course, the most challenging one will be India. I think there will be even more serious than Malaysia. I know a lot of containers which are abandoned in India. So with that, thank you very much, and I leave Quantum Avery to tell you more about their product. And again, once again, please ask as many questions as possible so that you are very clear. The SAM Executive Committee EXCO firmly believes that this is the solution, potential solution to the current problem that we have with security deposit with respect to D&D collections as well as with respect to container damage recoveries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ui, for your words of wisdom. Now we'd like to call upon Mr. Kwa Kok Kee, COO of Quantum Ivory, who will brief us on today's topic, iCargo Plus, securing container claims and recoveries for carriers.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ui, and my partner, Mr. Chua. Thank you for coming. I will just run through what iCargo Plus is all about. Feel free to stop me to ask any questions, okay? Now, as we all know, carriers has been carrying the container risk for 10 years or maybe more, right? What we would like to do is to request pass the burden to iCargo Plus. We'll solve it, we'll take it over from there, right? We will go through a short video of what iCargo Plus is all about, and we'll move on from there. This will give you a better picture. This is the product video. I think you roughly give us a little bit of understanding of what is it all about. Okay, today we are working with Sam, Masa, Quantum Ivory. What we plan to do is to be pioneer in the paradigm shift of container issues in Malaysia. For a start, I move on to the next slide. And let's have some introduction. You guys will be wondering who's Quantum Ivory, what is iCargo, what is it all about, you know? Now, this is a brief introduction about Quantum Ivory. A little bit about us. We are an e-commerce risk manager that manages risk by using e-platform, right? We are also the developer of Click Portal, centralized logistic integrated portal, and the product owner of iCargo Plus, which we have developed by working with insurance companies, and also proudly to say, the solution provider for container issues for the logistic industry players in mitigating their risk via an online platform. This is the first in Malaysia and the first in Asia Pacific as well. I move on to the next slide. Now, who are the managing partners of Quantum Ivory? Dr. Lee is our chairman. He is not able to join us today because he's in China. Dr. Lee is a prominent businessman in properties and hotels in Southeast Asia. It's his business, so he's moving around. And we have our CEO, Mr. Chua. Mr. Chua is an accountant by profession who has vast experience in corporate restructuring and consultancy work in the Asia Pacific region. Right? And of course, we have me, myself, as the COO of Quantum Ivory. I am basically born a technical guy in insurance with about close to 20 years, I think, in the industry. I lost count. I specialize in structuring regional, commercial, and marine insurance program because I do travel around Asia Pacific with clients that the whole program for them in Asia Pacific where they have offices. Now, let's look at our objective today. What we want to achieve is by using iCargo Plus. It's just a tool. What we want to do with the tool is to set the best practice for container issues in the entire logistic industry by working with industry players. Now it's Masa and Sam plus many other industry players later by way of securing container claims and recoveries on the carrier and the shipping agent's perspective. What we will look at is iCargo Plus will also be able to solve disputes among industry players. I don't have to elaborate. I'm sure you guys are experienced and you have come across all this. And lastly, to improve the cash flow position or management of merchants, freight forwarders, and forwarding agents. I think Mr. Wee had explained earlier on the deposit issues. Those guys are making noise. Right, start to make noise or will be making noise. So let's put a stop to all this by using iCargo Plus. Now, what is iCargo Plus? iCargo Plus is a hybrid marine insurance that covers cargo and extended to cover container risk at no extra cost. They don't have to complain if you, like Mr. Wee has mentioned just now, if you ask them to pay extra 5 ringgit or 2 ringgit, they will start to make noise. Even 20 cents also, they will make noise. But if it's free, then they'll keep quiet. So this is free. So there's nothing to complain about. Now let's define what is the risk with an asterisk there. Container risk is defined as repair cost, D&D, uncollected cargo, which this is something new that for carriers and shipping agents, and total loss of the container. Because you know, uncollected cargo, your container is in the port, you can kiss goodbye the container, it will never come out. Right? So we undertake to cover that as well. Now the next one, you'll be asking, what is Clip? Clip is actually a portal, an e-commerce platform owned by Quantum Ivory. It's a trademark registered and patented e-commerce portal that serves as a link to provide solution to marine industry arising from container issues. iCargo Plus is inside Clip portal. There will be many other products coming up, but for a start, it's iCargo Plus. I will roughly go through this, why carriers collect deposit. I'm sure most of you are aware of this issue. Just a quick glance through. One, you guys are unable to collect D&D charges, full D&D charges from merchants. Some even have to give discounts. And also you have challenges in collecting repair costs from merchants. Some carriers or some shipping agents that I know of, they engage in some collection agency to do it for them, and you've got to pay 5% commission to those guys. Right, so you don't have to do that now, you know. Right. Number three, some from case study, actual case, some carriers and shipping agents have to resort to legal proceedings to recover losses from container total loss issues, right? Because the deposit we should collect is not enough. For a reefer container is close to 200,000, you only collect 2,000, I don't think it's enough. Okay, number four is to prevent losses on uncollected or abandoned cargo. Only on container, we don't pay for the cargo. This is only on the container, just to cover to mitigate the risk of carrier and shipping agents. And to safeguard the interest on disputes or to container related issues among stakeholders when losses or damages incur. These are to get rid of all the firefighting. Okay, I'll move on from here. Let's have a deeper insight of what iCargo Plus is. iCargo Plus, in short, it takes over cargo and container risk all at one go. One, on the cargo side, which is defined as a standard ICCA cover. This one we will not elaborate. This is whatever is in the market already. We also have. What they have, we also have. Right? Probably some better. Number two, repair cost as defined as container repair cost coverage based on the agreed tariff with participating liners, right, and carriers. Right? This is on the agreed tariff. Number three will be the total loss. It will be defined as total loss coverage of container based on the maximum agreed value with the participating carriers. There's always a limit to a value to a container, right? And number four, D&D is defined as demurrage and detention charges. The coverage is also based on the agreed tariff with participating carriers. Right? We follow your tariff. Okay? We follow your tariff. It's not that we determine what you must charge. Clear on that part, huh? So I move on. Now let's look at what is the max container agreed value. We have sit down through many rounds with the task force, and they have actually advised us from their experience what is the current market value that is for containers. Right. We have type of containers. I think these are all the type of containers that is available in the market or is being used. Right. These are 20-footer and 40-footer. These are the maximum values of containers. We will pay up to this agreed amount, which I've mentioned, max container agreed value. Clear? Then we move on to what are the limits. Of course, there are no perfect coverage in the world. As I've mentioned many times, there is no. You can only find the closest and you improve from there. Right, for repair costs. Repair cost is defined as bending, chipping, and denting to the containers due to road accidents in the port, loading, and all loading and unloading activities. Basically, it covers everything already. Otherwise, why should we repair the containers? Correct? And number two, on the D&D, D&D is defined as any loss or damage to the containers, howsoever cost. Howsoever cost means I don't want to know what is the cost, whether who damages it, whether it's a carrier, it's a forwarder, or it's a merchant. I don't want to know. I have no time to find out. I do not have time to go in ding-dong with all these nitty-gritty issues, right? But what we will do is, for the start, we will pay the indemnify up to 3,000 ringgit on D&D charges per container and 15,000 aggregate limit per event, which at the moment I think is sufficient. It covers basically 80% of the D&D charges, right? And there's a maximum 14 days covered, meaning most shipping lines and shipping agents will provide a free period. Let's say example, free period is 5 days. The D&D incurs is we will indemnify on the 6th day to the 21st day. That is on the D&D. You guys are following? That means you have a free period, 14 days after the free period, those are things that the insurance, those are insured, and should there be any losses or damages arises from that, insurance company will indemnify. Right? After the 14 days, we will not be able to do that because there are some restrictions. I cannot have a very wide cover whereby the premiums will escalate very high and nobody else will buy. So I have to price my product correctly, right? And we have uncollected cargo. Uncollected cargo is defined as whatever all the losses and damages, howsoever costs subject to policy exclusion. And what we will do is the insurance has stated in the policy clearly that max sum insured as per container value. We have gone through the container value, right? For example, 20-footer GP is 15,000. If the cargo is uncollected and left in the port or the operators there warehouse, the insurers will undertake to pay the agreed value to the carriers and the shipping agents. Of course, it comes with a limit. The insurers cannot be covering everything under the sky, so they put a limit of up to 300,000 ringgit and time excess of 75 days. Meaning, the first 75 days you cannot submit your claims for under uncollected cargo. Anything after the 75 days or the 76 days, you can file in your claim. And the coverage is within Malaysian soil only. And some liners have actually requested to extend to cover Brunei. Yes, we can do that for you guys. That's why we need to sit down with you, tell me what you want, we will get it done for you. Okay? And of course, on container total loss, this is pretty straightforward. Totally gone due to fire, lightning, explosion, road accident, theft, hijack, including parts and accessories. Sometimes those guys don't want your container. They just like your cable. I don't know why they like your cable, but they just take your cable. We also, it's also covered under the policy. Right? Am I clear? I move on. Of course, all insurance comes with exclusion. Alright? Now, exclusion number 1, the policy states clearly that loss or damage exceeding the agreed value is not covered. For example, 20-footer GP is 15,000. Today, if there's a total loss, it's an accident. The carriers come and tell me, because my container at the site there, we have painted some minion cartoon, so that costs more. You have to pay me 18. I'm sorry, it's only 15. That is, the cartoon is on your own. Right? And any illegal acts or activities under the laws of Malaysia, please be informed that we are under Bank Negara Malaysia's jurisdiction and MOF. Anything that is illegal acts is not payable or not covered under the insurance. It's the same as a bank. Anything that is illegal, MOF will put a stop. That's our job. Right? That's our jurisdiction and restriction. Confiscation and detention by local authorities falls under, I think it's also under the laws of Malaysia where something is illegal. But if it's inspection is not detained or it's not confiscated, yes, the insurance will pay. Right? So the keyword, always remember, anything against the laws of Malaysia, we are unable to do so. Okay, of course, for uncollected cargoes, the first 75 days is the time excess. Right? Or carriers deliberately damage the containers and want to claim back from us. That one cannot be done, right? And also, carriers found out that containers went missing during stock take. Insurance also cannot undertake to pay that. Right? We are clear. Those are pretty simple and easy to digest exclusions, right? Not too technical, no jargons, right? Next, we move on. What carriers will benefit? These are the most important things to a person's mind. What's in it for me? 1, admin workload. If you don't collect deposit, you are free of admin workload. No more monitoring on the check, when to refund, when to reconcile. You have a big team of accounting. Some of your accounts department even have a bigger workforce than audit firms, okay? Practicability. iCargo Plus is possibly the best industry practice. Possibly, all right? I dare not commit anything, but possibly at the moment it looks that way. Payment guarantee. Please be reminded that insurance is a payment guarantee. The deposit checks that you collect is not a guarantee, the check will bounce, or short one signature, very common, right? And peace of mind. This means it solved the long-term dispute among industry players. Nobody has the time to go sit down for meeting and argue, and whose negligence is that, And of course, financial security. iCargo Plus is guaranteed by AA-rated insurance company. Means they are multinational, they are big enough, they have a lot of money. Where's Dinesh? Confirm a lot of money, okay. Yeah, he confirms that, a lot of money. All right, and accessibility. Currently, all of us are doing a manual job. Check deposit, reconcile. So, sorry. iCargo Plus is IT driven, 24/7. They can be anywhere in the world, middle of the night, they can just log in and just take it up. Uniformity, iCargo Plus offers standardization. You have iCargo Plus, no deposit. Simple as that. You don't want iCargo Plus, you pay deposit. That's uniformity. Not like what current practice is. Some you collect 500, some you collect 1,000, some you don't collect. So there's no uniformity. And risk mitigation. Containers are covered up to the agreed value. That's the value of the container at the moment. Not the deposit 1,000 or 500 which you collected. Your risk is mitigated, but only probably 5 or 10% only. Right? Affordability. This is complimentary. We don't charge on the container cover. So which means it's affordable. We are not asking them to pay extra. Whatever they are paying now, convert, that's it. And it's even, from my research, it's even cheaper than some merchants are even paying higher for the traditional cargo insurance than iCargo Plus. I've done my research and I've checked it out. All right, and also, what carriers should not worry, because there are also other questions which we have gone through with some carriers. One, the claims will be paid directly to carriers and shipping agents, not to the merchants. You pay to the merchants, they will tell you insurance have not paid, you wait 2 more months. So we paid directly to carriers, so you don't have to worry on that. And number 2, carriers and shipping agents has authority to submit claims. If you depend on merchants to submit claim, they will take their own sweet time, because the money is yours, not theirs. They will take their own sweet time. But for here, if carriers have control, you submit. The earlier you submit, the earlier you get your money. And of course, carriers and shipping agents is able to verify and print reports on iCargo Plus by merchants. We have a system that is for carriers to log in also. You can check, you can print out which merchant has iCargo or how many has purchased, you will know. Carriers and shipping agents will be notified once the merchant or freight forwarders or forwarding agents take up the iCargo Plus. You will know immediately. System is linked. And of course, carriers has all the rights to collect deposit at your own discretion. It doesn't mean, oh, you have iCargo Plus, you don't collect money. You still can collect, subject to certain things. For example, scrap metal, timber logs, and chemical cargoes. These things would damage your floorboard. iCargo Plus, as I mentioned, it's not perfect in the world, but it's close to there. There is an excess of 1,000 ringgit for floorboard repair. For these 3 cargoes only. All other cargoes, there's no excess. Whatever comes, we just pay. So you still can collect the deposit from them. Or some customer who have who's habitual, very bad habit of damaging and all your things, so you can still impose a deposit on them. Right? The control is still on the carrier and the merchant. And of course, the most important one is insurer will not subrogate or recover against carrier or shipping agents, because now you guys are exposed. Some of you guys have a liability cover, you worry, insurance pay the cargo, the insurance company paid the claim, and then come after you guys. Here, iCargo Plus, we had an agreement with the underwriter, we will not recover from our partners. Is that clear? Forwarders are still exposed to that. Good luck to them. Alright? Yes.
I'm not clear the last one. Can you please explain a bit?
Recover.
Yeah.
Okay, meaning if today shipping company A carries a good for maybe Samsung, so there's a cargo damage onto the container, and Samsung has their own cargo insurance. Samsung's insurance, probably insurer A pays Samsung 500,000 ringgit for the damage of their cargo. Once insurance pay money, all right, they collect a small premium and they pay such a big amount, they will hunt for the blood of whoever is in the logistic chain. Trust me, I was from insurance company before. Dinesh, can you confirm that? Yeah. You will hunt for the blood until the last drop, to recover back. Okay, I was from there, I know. So if they say they found out it's the negligence of the carrier, they will recover from you. But for iCargo Plus, yeah, I know even the negligence is from the carrier, we will not recover. We will just quietly we pay on our own. Confirm. I confirm on that. But of course, we will go after the forwarder or the haulier, whoever is in between.
What happens is a clear case of the negligence on the part of the carrier.
We will not subrogate or recover. Confirm. We just like the Hokkien people say, tui. We bang our chest, you why like that? So no choice. It is confirmed that we will not recover from the carrier and the shipping agent, even if it's their negligence. But please don't do that purposely. Don't damage it purposely, okay?
Is it you're talking about the container only or plus the cargo?
Plus the cargo, normally on the cargo side. Alright, if traditionally there's no iCargo, can you imagine if the Samsung's 500,000 worth of goods in that particular 40-footer container goes damaged, total loss, they will hunt all the way, trail it back to the logistic chain, whose negligence. If found out if it's forwarder, good luck, they will claim for forwarder. But if it's with iCargo, the insurer will not recover. I repeat, will not recover from the carrier. So clear on that part? Did I answer your question?
Why do we need to poke out our own eyes?
Correct. So, did I answer your question?
Not exactly. Okay, let's say the container was on the vessel and there's water ingress. So there's a hole in the container.
Okay.
Damage the cargo. Okay. So Samsung say, I need to recover 50,000 ringgit.
Where's the container now? On the ship sailing?
On the ground already.
Okay.
Right destination.
Okay.
So who should they recover the 50,000 from?
You mean after Samsung claim the insurance?
No. Samsung now has 50,000 of damage. They want to claim. Should they claim their insurance?
Okay. If Samsung have their own insurance, right? They will claim from their own insurance. Then their insurance will come after the carrier or whoever is involved. But with iCargo Plus, since we are insuring the cargo also, why am I robbing my left pocket? Taking my money from left pocket to right pocket. Since iCargo Plus already covered the cargo, we pay Samsung the 50,000. Then that's it, finish, close case. We won't come after the carrier. If it's with iCargo Plus, because iCargo Plus comes with the cargo coverage. Remember? Clear? That answer your question,
You are now offering something very new, You are saying for the cargo itself that you're not going to claim against the carrier.
Okay.
So you're not selling insurance coverage anymore. Basically, you're saying, buy, use the cargo, I pay you.
Oh,
So
wow,
it's
okay.
totally different already, what you're selling today.
Okay, okay. iCargo Plus is a cargo coverage and extended to cover container risk. All right. Cargo, leave the container aside. Cargo is still cargo.
Yes.
It belongs to the merchant or the shipper. If there's a damage, the insurance will pay them. Full stop. But once insurance pay them, it is a trend in the market now. Whether it's last time, now, or in the future, insurance will come after whoever is involved. Whether it's a trucking company, whether it's a shipping company, we will come after. But for this case, the insurance will not go after the carrier or the shipping agent. But we doesn't stop us from going after the freight forwarder or the haulier. If there's a damage, yes.
But if there's a hole in the container, you don't come and ask why is there a hole in the first place.
We won't ask anymore. We just have to pay only. Because I don't want a lot of trouble. I've been losing a lot of hair,
You will pay for the, of course, if I'm the shipper, I took a marine cover.
Yes.
I can go plus, importer.
Okay.
So there is a damage to the goods.
Okay.
So I will submit a claim.
Correct.
Right? To iCargo Plus.
Correct.
Also,
Correct.
right? Usually, for any marine cover, then you will subrogate that to the shipping company.
Either shipping company or the forwarder or the haulier, whoever lah.
In this case,
Mm.
go in the container, go after the shipping company.
Go after the shipping company, correct?
Right. So you're saying here, you're not going to do that. You just
Yeah.
pay the claim and close the file.
Close the file, yes.
You know, I find that very hard to believe. No?
Wait, who says agree?
No, he doesn't agree.
He doesn't agree or you agree? Unbelievable.
Oh, of course.
It is.
If you really this product, then our own I can sell the okay wrong.
I confirm. Dinesh, can you please confirm that? You shoot him.
Mr. Chuck, please confirm.
Previous slide.
Sorry?
Just go to the previous slide.
Which one? This one? This one? Ah, this is container. If we found out that you purposely damage your container just to claim insurance, we won't pay lah. But just now we are talking about the cargo. This is container. If you want to claim 500 ringgit from us, you damage.
No, when it comes to host, the thing is, just now we talk about subrogation. That's the usual cost the insurance company will do lah. They will pay the claim to some sort, then the insurance company will come after the responsible carrier. Carrier will refer to the carrier's insurance law. That's how it's done normally. But he's saying they won't come. The carrier's
Okay, for
insurance.
example, yeah, you must participate. It has to be iCargo Plus. Otherwise, if it's not iCargo Plus, if you buy insurance from other people, they will come after the carrier. I mean, I cannot protect you. But once it is my product, then it's okay.
Let's be very clear. The ultimate decision whether they go with iCargo Plus or not rests entirely with the reporter.
Yes, correct.
We, only the carrier, we can encourage them to do that.
Yes.
But the ultimate decision is still the merchant.
Yes, of course, it's up to the merchant. But if it's iCargo Plus, confirm the insurance company will not go after the shipping lines or the shipping agents. But if they have no iCargo Plus, that one I cannot stop other people from coming after the carrier or the shipping agent. Am I clear? Clear? Yes.
Do you still investigate if I got a hole there?
Investigate on what claims, whether it's a cargo or the...
Whether the hole is done by purposely or it was done by naturally? No.
No.
So everyone here that no.
No, it's no. Alright, it's no. Unless we will do some investigation if it's a behavioral, if it's a
Ask you to do
frequency.
investigation.
No, if it's a small
So
claim,
then
we,
why you do some investigation? Don't do.
no, if we see a string of claim, let's say maybe particular carrier A would have 1 month, 50 containers we hold one, something is wrong somewhere. So we will find out why. We will find out why.
You will find out you not investigate.
We will find out why lah. Maybe one carrier plus.
Because this situation is same like we are driving a car. And then the car was hit in the windscreen.
Okay.
And the screen broke. Okay, the container might go through, the haulier might go through, and then suddenly there's something that poke in there. Okay, no one knows about it. It might be happen naturally. It might be sabotage. Don't know.
That is up to the adjuster to find out.
If you don't investigate means that you just pay.
Yeah.
We don't have problem.
Yeah.
Right. But once we investigate, you give us go to court and all this thing. and we-
No investigation goes to court. Okay, no investigation will go to
The
court.
important is that no investigation, we don't go to court.
Yeah.
We don't go to court, you pay money, that's all.
That's all. Yeah.
So as far as I take iCargo Plus, we got all this protection.
Correct. I want to make life easy. Yes.
You mentioned that you would go after the forwarder, right?
For the yes. Next in line.
Next in line.
Mm.
So if you go after the forwarder will obviously claim back against the carrier who provided the container, right?
No.
Then it will be something between forwarder and us then.
That we will, the insurance company will go after them.
Yes.
They cannot push.
Yeah.
What they will do is they have their liability cover. Let their liability insurance and our insurance company deal with it already. Full stop.
Yeah, but if they come back to the liner, we are still implicated to have to resolve the issue, right?
But if he comes after you,
Yeah.
the policy says very clearly, if it's we will not go after the carrier. But if let's say if they go back after the carrier, we just pull back the file. It's simple as that. The key word is iCargo Plus will not go after the carrier, which is our partner. We treat you guys as our partner. We will not go after you. Yes, somebody has a question. You have a question?
So sorry, they answered already.
Okay.
So sorry, you pull back the file means the insurance itself is.
We'll close the file. We will close the file. Because if we find out at the end of the day, it's going to be recovered back from the carrier, it's also our money. So why should we be going to claim our own money? It is pretty silly.
But let's say if there is any incident on the CE and because of which the cargo is damaged or something, obviously you cannot go back to the forwarder because it is not forwarder's fault.
Oh, okay, if it's on the sea, then it falls under probably it's a marine cargo claim already. If still we won't recover from the carrier.
I think this iCargo Plus is actually you are actually covering the merchant,
Correct.
right? But guaranteed payment to the carrier lah.
Correct.
Actually, the merchant is the party you're covering,
Correct.
right? So it would not be right to say that it right pocket to left pocket, because we also have our insurance.
Okay.
So you cover the merchant lah. So the cargo is the merchant lah. Something went wrong on the ship and the cargo is damaged. You pay the claim to the merchant.
Correct.
I like to believe that this is true.
Yes.
But I give you some chance. You might want to go back and check lah. It sounds a little bit.
This is we will come.
So I think let's not debate on this anymore.
Okay.
I think the current international practice for insurance is like that. The insurer will pay the
claim
cargo interest,
Yes.
and then they will then go after to seek liable party,
Correct.
right? Claim from the liable party lah. And but you are saying otherwise, but for the purpose of this meeting, otherwise the debate will go on forever. We leave this issue first. If you really is true, then I would like to say thank you very much, but I have my reservations.
We will come up with, let's say, we will come up with other products in the future to mitigate all these risks. But at the moment, I stand firm on what I say. Right? I stand firm on what I say. Right? May I move on?
Yes, please.
So no more debate.
No more debate. So, okay. The next one would be how iCargo Plus can add value to carriers and shipping agents. One, using iCargo as an alternative to container deposits. You use that as a tool. Number two, participating carriers and agents can guarantee container users that repair cost D&D is waived up to a limit determined by you guys. For example, you know your limit is this high. So when you to sell at the point of selling your containers to the merchants or users, you can tell them, okay, you take out iCargo Plus, no deposit, D&D or repair cost up to a certain amount is waived. Then I leave that to the carriers. You guys go and decide. Right? You have a leverage, you have some kind of buffer, you can work it out. Right? And carriers and shipping agents can inform container users that the coverage is complementary, right? And of course, it secures the containers for uncollected cargo, not for the cargo, but the container only. And iCargo Plus can also have enables a system integration with the carrier or shipping agent. Of course, this is optional. We are currently work in progress working with a carrier on system integration. Right? We can look into that later, but I will not dwell into this. Right? Of course, and the most important one is how to make it work. You know the product and you know what it can do, but how to make it work. Number one, let's start with signing MOU and NDA. Alright, this is important. It's just an MOU, alright, but formality. My wife don't want to marry me because if I don't want to go to a legal marriage, that's the problem. So I have to do that. So let's start with something practical. MOU and NDA. Let's start. Number 2, shipping agents and carriers register as a CLIP member at the portal. It's free. Once you register, you have a password and ID. You can have access, print out, check who is which merchant or forwarding agent that has take up iCargo Plus. And what we will do is we will go to your office to brief your sales, marketing and CS staff on what iCargo Plus is all about, so that when the users ask, they are able to answer. And most important one is awareness. Carriers and shipping agents need to announce to the users, whether it's merchant or forwarding agent or freight forwarders, that iCargo Plus is an alternative to deposit. We don't force, we just tell them you have an alternative. You don't want to pay deposit, you take up this one, full stop. You don't want to take up this one, you pay deposit. Alright, and number 5, carriers and shipping agents inform users to sign up as a member. They want to use, right? You go and ask them to sign up at the portal, ask them to go and take it up themselves. Once they purchase, the carrier will be notified immediately. Right? And, sorry.
Don't mind, Mr. Kwok, I interrupt you here a bit. I think the iCargo Plus is actually a marine cover that incorporates to a certain limit the D&D collection as well as container damage recovery.
Yes.
It's not an alternative to container deposit per se.
Okay.
But of course, as a result, you take this one, then of course the shipping lines will hopefully not collect security deposit, you know, because we are already feeling that this is better than the security deposit.
Correct.
Because if I collect 1,000 ringgit, it's much smaller than what you are covering.
Correct.
So we don't see the need of us collecting a security deposit if a merchant comes with an insurance cover that is iCargo Plus, because
Correct.
iCargo Plus already cover everything.
Correct.
So I think that has to be changed, you know, in the sense that you are marketing is like an alternative to container deposit. In reality, it's not. It is a marine cover that also gives you complementary cover for container, D&D, and damage recovery.
Correct.
Yeah. That's how it should be marketed. You know?
Okay, thank you. And of course, carriers and shipping agents can opt to purchase iCargo Plus on behalf of their merchants if there is a need. If you guys want it faster, some merchants says, you counting for me lah. So you can opt to do that for them as well. But it's entirely up to the carrier and shipping agent. Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Kwok, I have 2 questions.
Yep.
If the carrier does not collect container deposit, what's the value for them?
What's the?
What's the value for them? Do they still need to sign an MOU and NDA?
You have to be the participating carrier.
Okay, if the customer buys iCargo,
Okay.
but the carrier is not signed up,
Okay, but I do not know how to pay you.
They cannot buy also.
They cannot buy as well.
In our system.
Because the system, one of the requirement is that you need to key in who is the carrier or shipping agent.
They cannot buy also.
They cannot buy. They cannot buy. So in the end, they have to go and find another carrier already. So I move on. Now let's look at our partners. Our partners they are panel underwriters. They are multinational company with vast experience and capacity in underwriting marine-related insurance and ability to pay claims. They are not Korea, right? They are big international boys specializing in marine. Those are Chubb, American-based company, QBE is an Australian-based company, and AXA, a French company. These guys are marine players. Now let's look at the participating carrier. Prior to this event, we have actually been moving around to some carriers and shipping agents, and we have explained to them. Some of them has actually participated. Costco is one of the pioneer one. MTT, PSA, PIL, MSC, Malaysian Shipping Corporation, together with the PSA, AML, and Harbour Link, right? So these are the boys that has signed MOU and NDA with us. So we are working with them, and eventually they will be the one passing the make an announcement from their side to their container users.
I
And this
think
program is
I think my colleague here has a point. You see, okay, you can talk about the MOU and the NDA. I know where you're coming from. The MOU is nothing.
This is MOU only.
It's a matter of understanding. The NDA is basically to protect your whatever secrets you have in your product.
Yes.
Yeah. So of leaking out to your competition.
Okay.
Right. But you see, you mentioned just now to Danny from us that if the carrier hasn't signed the MOU, then the merchant who has been shipping with other carriers, say I already ship with Evergreen, I ship with OCL, now the container coming in is from Maersk Line, but Maersk Line didn't sign the MOU, so I cannot buy. Also wrong, right? Is that what I'm trying to say? Right. It should be, because ultimately you are covering who? You are covering the merchant, right?
We will look.
The only thing is that, of course, Mr. Maersk Line, if you see iCargo and then still charge security deposit, then of course the consignee will be very upset, right? Because maybe because you're not party to the MOU, as a result, which I think that's where they're coming from on the MOU as well. They want you to consider taking off the security deposit, help the industry, right? So that the industry is able to, I mean, in terms of the custom broker, simplify and ease the process of dealing with the carrier. So if, for instance, our principal, or in your case, Maersk, endorses that this is a good product, then perhaps you should also open it up, sign the MOU, sign the NDA, right? And allow them, as many carriers to participate so that we can collectively help to propagate this very good product that can solve the industry woes. And that's my take on this.
My point is that Maersk Line does not collect container deposit. So
We-
the first hurdle to manage. Why should we participate?
You can still sign without, signing an MOU doesn't mean that
That's why I'm saying, what's the value?
you're not going to lose anything. Even though you don't collect security deposit and all the Safla boys love you.
Because I think the MOU is for your process, which we'll talk about it later, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about separately. Sit down separately lah. Right. Just for discussion's sake, MOU there are parties that want to sign MOU exclusively with them. I
think,
allow that.
sorry, Mr. Kwa, I think your iCargo should be, whatever have been signed is signed. Whatever not signed yet, there are still consideration, you should let them buy the iCargo because the carrier, there might be a lot others.
We will look into that, and come back.
Because that is the way you need to promote more on iCargo so that everyone will be starting using iCargo insurance. The plus there, okay?
Fine, agree.
If you ask people to sign an MOU and all these things, I define it, you are trying to squeeze, or maybe you're going to just put a round down there, so you don't buy from me, I don't get it for you. I think that is not the way the promotion on your iCargo for the start. It should be freehand, where else, if you are willing to sign MOU with me, it will be better, greater. Without signing MOU, if you don't collect deposit or something like that, actually at this point of it, I think it should be fair.
Just now you all see there's a clause saying that it's a tariff agree with carrier. If the carrier don't come in, we cannot agree with your tariff. We have problem with the carrier, all those terms as well, that's why.
Okay,
we have problem with
I see that point because there is also some agreement there on the tariff that you mentioned. Say you don't sign, this one got iCargo Plus, I charge more Then they are exposed, you know what I mean? I think that's where they're coming from
So you have to understand where we have our hands are tied in a certain way. Once we agree, we know what's for carry, we just pay accordingly.
Some of carriers say, hey, then I got to increase my tariff. I said, if that, then you are going to spoil you are going to kill the program. So then you won't benefit anybody. So that's why carrier is also carry very important role to take care of the program. That's why we appreciate task force to help us to review. They also tell us what are the mechanism have to come in. So bear in mind, program not only iCargo Plus only, it's everybody's what they call a duty and responsibility. All right, thank you.
I move on. This program is also endorsed by MOT, MOF, Port Authority, SAM, and SME Association. Right? Now, in a nutshell, we know that there is a better way. After today, we know there's a better way already. Take the leap of faith, change for the better good. All of us has changed before. We are agents of change. If you come and tell me you have not changed, I do not believe what you say. I'm going to share with you the next slide why I say everybody has changed. This is off record, nothing to do with iCargo. Yes, and yes, we did change for the better good. All of us. Look at that. You all remember this? Some of you all pretty young, you cannot remember this. Some, do you know what this is all about? The first generation of a mobile phone. You have this one those days, for this one is a big Taiko already. Then we changed to what the Hokkien people say, Tuaki. Alright, we change. And then we move on to all this. This is how we guys have been changing over the years. Those guys who have this one are very chunky, very small. They call it the butterfly one. Then we have the BlackBerry and BlackBerry phase out. And you have the first generation of iPhone and move to the latest. Yes, we changed. Anyone still using this? Or this? Or this? Or this? No, right? We change, right? So it's time to change. When the time comes, you change. So the time has come, you change. Right? And lastly, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwa. Okay, we will continue the next part of today's briefing in the form of a forum in which we will invite some panelists and you all can interact with them. So while giving the hotel some time to set up, it's our privilege here today that we have someone from Port Klang Authority. He's Mr. Kumarasan. We're glad to have you here today. Maybe Mr. Kumarasan would like to share his thoughts or his opinion about what he has seen so far.
No, I think container deposit is one of the major industry issue now. I think Ministry of Transport also looking at it very seriously. We just want a win-win situation here. If iCargo is the solution or is the alternate to container deposit, then and carriers also comfortable with this iCargo Plus, then please go ahead, we'll support that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumarasan. First on our panel, we have Inche Azwa Hanif. Inche Azwa is the MD of GM Marine Services, and they are the appointed loss adjuster for the iCargo Plus program. Inche Azwa is experienced in marine and shipping industry. He graduated from Academy Laut Malaysia. He was also the marine underwriter and reinsurer for a few multinational companies before setting up GM Marine Services. Inche Azwa. Next on our panel, we have a familiar face in the shipping industry. He is a SAM Exco member, a member of SAM's Operation Task Force, a member of SAM's New Customs Task Force and co-chairman, MICCI Logistics and Infrastructure Council. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Stephen Sia. Next, we would like to invite Mr. Chua Hock Peng, who is the CEO of Quantum Ivory. Okay, with that, we would like to give you all an opportunity. We would like to interact with them on the information that has already been passed on to you all on the iCargo Plus. If there's any questions that you would like to, or want their views in their area of expertise, we'd like to welcome you.
Good afternoon. Anyway, today we suppose have an underwriter, Juan already supposed to be here, but there's some urgency, so that's why she didn't turn up to help us to design the programs together with us. Anyway, the CHAP, AXA, and what do you call, and QB, they did send their rep here. Okay. So, interesting question from Mr. Oi just now. I think the one we will, I also mentioned to Stephen, there's a catch on the particular subrogation part, but anyway, the one will be a liner from liner basis. Right? Okay, then the next one, come back to this panel discussions here. Of course, we have Azwa here, who is a loss adjuster. We want to know, we want to get some opinions from the adjuster, then followed by Stephen as a SEN passport, who help us to design the program. Then, if from the floor question, we will try to take up and discuss with you guys. Engineer Azwa, please.
Good afternoon to all. My name is Azwa. I'm from a company called Global Marine Survey. We have been appointed as the panel for the survey and adjusting on this scheme. What I can say is that what the question has been, I hear what has been raised by the floor, especially on the matter of the subrogation. From what I understand of how subrogation works, especially this is an indemnity policy. Indemnity means that the policy pays back to what you lost, put you back to where position as you were before. It doesn't give you any extra, it doesn't give you any less, maybe less, but not extra. So the principle of insurance whereby that once they pay a claim, then you have to sign the discharge voucher, and then insurance would subrogate against the negligence party. For this policy program, what I was made to understand that there is no subrogation at all. So the negligent party who is part of the consortium will not be asked to pay back whatever has been paid by insurance company, especially when you are a shipping line. Normally damages to a cargo in a container would always, the insurance company would always put the blame on the shipping line, be it for whatever reason. So shipping line probably have to defend themselves to establish whether this loss was caused by them because of packing, because of stowing, and so on and so forth. So this will not be done under this program, but a party who's not participating to this program, like freight forwarders or ports, will still be subjected to a recovery action. Be it they are at fault or they're not at fault, has to be determined later after the subrogation process has completed. Okay, I hope this clarifies the issue on subrogation when it comes to insurance company, cargo, especially cargo owner recovering against negligent party. In what we do, when we prepare the report, we will highlight this matter. We will put a point whereby at what point the cargo was damaged or the container was damaged. So that in the transit policy, there's always stages: land part, rail part, sea part, and whatever part. So if you can establish that where the loss has been determined at what point or manufactured at what point, then it makes clear for insurance company not to proceed with any subrogation or so on and so forth. Okay.
So are you saying that if they say that the container is on board the ship, right, and during the sea passage, the container was fell out to the sea?
Okay.
Come after the carrier.
No, if the carrier is a party to the contract, so they are party to the contract whereby you are a part of the insured or the insurance program, then if you are found to be negligent, if I found you to be negligent, then insurance have the option not to go after you because you are a member of the scheme. You are a member of the scheme. Whereby if you are not a member of the scheme, then probably you are if the subcontractor is at fault, the shipper line subcontractor is at fault, maybe we go after the subcontractor, if that's the case. If it is negligent 100% by the shipping line, then they will not seek any recovery.
In this particular case, your actual contractual party is the merchant, the importer, who buys the insurance product for you. But we as a carrier is also the indirect party that you cover already because you're paying us for a certain limit.
Okay, in the policy,
importer, I must say, not importer. because our claim could be in excess of the limit, in which case we still reserve the right to go after the merchant.
Correct. That is between you and the third party. But in terms of the participating parties in the insurance policy, they will put the name of the party interested, who shipping line or merchant, whoever. If you as a shipping line, you have your subcontractor, you have to put as a party to the scheme. You may do so. So if you want to cover all the entire parties involved in the supply chain, you may do so at the consent of the scheme manager. So it's easier for you if you want to do that. So there's no issue of subrogation against any party along the supply chain, within the supply chain, I mean.
My point, I think there is a conflict here. You mentioned there is no subrogation form to be signed, but once you have paid up the claim, you are going after a third party who could be at fault. But what gives you the right to go after the third party without a subrogation form?
You have to sign the DV. Basically, in any insurance claim, the discharge voucher has to be signed. If the claim is paid to the shipping line, Maersk Line, for example, and Maersk Line we have to sign, or the merchant have to sign the discharge voucher. The discharge voucher itself is authority for insurance company to go after any third party. So it is on the insurance decision to go or not against a third party.
So you say there's a discharge voucher, that is the one.
Definitely, I guess so. The national discharge voucher. Yeah.
No, my answer is the subrogation form is the one, not the discharge voucher. And then there will be the discharge voucher, unless it's mentioned, the insurer has the right to subrogate. So I think it's a bit of conflict here. I don't understand.
No, subrogation is a concept under insurance scheme. Under insurance that once you sign a subrogation, then it gives the DV, it gives the insurers the right to subrogate as though that they are the party at fault. They are the party that is suffering for the loss. So by signing there's a wording that says that certain things about subrogation. But the right to subrogate, the decision to subrogate lies on the insurers themselves. Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Actually on the DV then there's the wording subrogate there.
Yes.
So which means I'm signing on the subrogation form.
Yes. When you sign the subrogation form means you give the right to the insurance company to subrogate.
Yeah, but my point is that the word subrogate is not on the subrogation form, it's on the DV
Discharge form.
Discharge form.
Yes.
So which means that I am signing the subrogation form indirectly.
It's actually a discharge form come subrogation form.
Correct.
Because it gives the right to the insurer to also subrogate.
So that means, I think then you better remove that word, subrogation against the carrier.
But what you there's nobody in the supply chain as your insured.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, let's be practical.
Let's be practical. It has been a norm. It has been a norm in the industry. So it's up to the insurance company to make the decision. But for this program itself, it has been agreed that the carrier and shipping agents will not be subrogated.
The reason why you come to that is simply, as I see it, is because today the paymaster is actually the importer. But because you are paying the claim direct to me, I have the right to come up to you and then you pay direct to me. You included me as a carrier, also as a party to the insurance cover. That's why you are saying, right pocket to left pocket, go both. You are covering both the importer as well as the carrier.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. For the only, actually you cover us only for container damage recovery and D&D collection.
Yes, correct.
Limits of liability. You don't cover me for liability on my cargo actually. So I mean, of course you want to give, you take lah. But this is not normal. Right. So I give you a chance.
All right.
And then the other part is on the tariff. I guess we talk about the tariff, the tariff that you have between the shipping line and the container depot. So that is something which you require if you sign the MOU and non-disclosure NDA. So otherwise, if you don't have a tariff, then I will use my own tariff. We basically use what we have is a history of tariffs that is normally comes out from the shipping line, which is definitely lower than what the tariff that you have from your ship container depot. So if you don't have a tariff, we use our own tariff, our internal tariff, which might not be the same as what your CD charge you.
So I will now get Stephen to give some opinions since he's worked with us for some time. I think worked with us for about 6 months to improvise our program. Stephen, please.
All right, thank you. Stephen representing SAM. We were, as mentioned by Mr. Ooi, our chairman, SAM's chairman, Quantum Ivory actually came to us, I think beginning of last year. It was a Chinese New Year, more than a year, yeah. With Tan Sri, Kong Chong Ha. So we were like what Mr. Ooi said, we thought MCA program or something like that, or want to BN or something like that. Anyway, it was it's something interesting, but not good, like what Mr. Ooi has already elaborated just now. And it has evolved into something which we feel that it may benefit, or it will benefit some of our members. Maybe not all, but some members will benefit from this iCargo Plus. And then now talking about this so-called cargo insurance subrogation thing. There's something further which I found out on the way to the men's office. Okay? As I told Mr. Chua, there is no free lunch. I suspect something is there and threw it up. There's no free lunch. But this one he said he will so-called separately talk with the liners. Yes. All right. Basically, that's all. I think whatever I need to say already said by our chairman, Mr. Louis. So and that is why we are here, so-called supporting this iCargo Plus product, which is very interesting, I find, and no cost to shipping lines. Why not? If they are willing to pay, we are willing to take. Why not? Right?
So no cost to the merchant?
Cost to the merchant, I don't know. That one, we don't know how your premium is going to be so-called. Yeah, we all do not know how the premium will be worked out. Is it? So whether additional cost to the merchant or not, I think that one we will not comment on that. That will be for you all to deal directly with the merchants. Is it? Okay. Basically, that's from our part, SAM's part. Thank you.
Of course, then come to after the iCargo Plus with the carriers. Of course, the next question, the next wave, I would say, it will go to the forwarder, because forwarder is the one who pay the deposit, and also the merchant who are the one who pay the deposit. Of course, we do have programs to work with them as well. As I mentioned to Mr. Kumar from Pocketing Authority, we know because we do research. Our research paper is more than 2,000 pages on that. So industry by industry, from one logistic change to the other logistic change, every process there is an issue there. So as for forwarder, we will design another programs to work with them and to countermeasure the issue that they address as well. So I do not any questions from the floor.
Michelle from Samudra. In regards to your D&D, whereby you guarantee 14 days after the free time. Up to 14 days, right? Maximum. Now, what about reefer boxes where you also incur monitoring charges in the port? Do you cover that as well?
Okay, this one I will pass to Mr. Kua as a director to answer your question. Listen, I need you to be here.
Okay, on the insurance perspective, any insurance, insurance pay when there's a physical damage to the containers.
No, this is D&D.
Okay, the D&D is demurrage and detention, but it doesn't cover like what you mentioned, those monitoring charges, washing of containers, those are not covered. Not in yet. We would like to start with whatever we can first. Then later on, we will move on from there.
Okay, why I bring up this subject is because we do have importers, buffalo meats and all that stuff. Alright, they could probably keep the container inside the port for something like 20 days. Yes, and the reefer charges can come to like, I don't know, a few thousand ringgit at least. And this is the part that if we do not collect any deposit before we release the deal, or ask them to pay first before we release the deal, we will never get to collect these charges because these charges are billed directly to the lines.
From the port?
Yes.
Or we can instruct the terminal to collect from the consignee's term as possible.
the consignee, the port account is of course, this reefer charges is billed directly to the line. It doesn't go to the consignee. It's not being billed to the port account of the consignee.
You can change that because basically, you see, it should be the terminal collecting direct from the merchant.
Port storage, yes, but not the.
Including the reefer.
I will support Linda here. For port plan and maybe one or two ports, reefer monitoring is charged to the carrier.
Yes.
Other ports, they are charged to the merchant. So we have to be careful here. We as carrier, we cannot assign a charge to someone else because that's not legal. And you cannot do that. Because in the port there
are two things here. You're talking about electricity and monitoring.
Yes.
There is a charge for the terminal operator to either the carrier or
Only the
we
carrier.
can tell the terminal.
Only the carrier because it's attached to the THC. Because you see,
We give for reefer, I think we give 3 days free time there.
yes.
So in excess of free time, I as a carrier can instruct the terminal, we should cover this directly for the merchant.
Which I think is wrong.
You can do that. Yeah.
But I think it's wrong because legality.
If charged to the carrier, then you cannot give it to consignee.
I think it's time we change that because we are living in the new world.
Don't use the old phone. Come on,
So that's why I say it's a bit different in port plan and
I think you already arranged with Westport. After 3 days, you my contractor, the terminal operator is my vendor. So I have a right to instruct him. Okay, you say, there's an authority, there's a legal, come on.
the port plan say so. Okay, my question is uncollected container. What scenario does it happen? I couldn't get the connection here. Uncollected container and the container for cargo. Because usually what happens is that when there's an uncollected container or cargo, the consignee has run away. So why do you want to register themselves to iCargo to get themselves implicated?
Good question. Because iCargo has to be purchased before the container arrives at POD, right? For such cases where we know that they're going to abandon, normally we know the cargo are all nonsense cargo lah. They purposely come in and just find to get lucky to get away with it lah. So most of such cases, I doubt they will have iCargo Plus. They don't even buy cargo insurance from anywhere one. They just try their luck. And for all we know, what declaration and actual cargo is two different things. So chances of those happening, the customers run away having iCargo Plus is practically zero lah. Those genuine one, talking about genuine, uncollected could be for whatever reasons that we cannot collect. That we have to honor it. But for those like smuggle things all nonsense cargo, I doubt they will have purchased the insurance in the first place.
Which is my point. Under what scenario it becomes an uncollected container or cargo?
So here it's talking about, of course, to be fair to them, if the guy didn't purchase iCargo, they cannot be responsible for your uncollected cargo. So the first step is the merchant must buy the iCargo Plus to flip, you see, then he is covered. Now, you will have a case where container arrived and he got this iCargo cover, correct me if I'm wrong, and subsequently the cargo is not collected due to some reason, maybe detained by customs or DOE or whatever, then they will cover the loss of the container for you.
Yes, correct. It's a policy.
No, exclusion. You see, we have those cases before those plastic waste will come in, because of all this iffy issue until for a very long time they don't want to take the container anymore. That is where the situation will be discussed. Then iCargo Plus, I will come back and say, cover that as well. I mean, it's happened that they purchased the insurance, and it happened that the merchant abandon the cargo, don't take anymore after a long time.
It falls, that's my point, it falls under the exclusion, that's what I didn't understand.
It's not exclusion in this case, right?
Government-related regulation.
Long ideally.
Really, I think that kind of case, like what Hua mentioned, very minimal. Probably has something to do with permits. Somebody will bring in, then they apply for permit, they couldn't get a permit. Then they say bye-bye to the cargo. Something like that. They couldn't get the permits.
Wouldn't they fall under the exclusion? I think?
No. That one is detained under, they're already detained. But this one, they don't have any, not detention by authorities, not detained yet. Customs has not detained or Marquis has not detained for any infringement of the regulations. So this one, I think there are some cargoes that come in while waiting for permit, they want to apply permit. Should the authority, but they also purchase iCargo Plus, then the authority say, no, I'm not going to give you a permit. So merchant cannot collect iCargo accordingly. They are willing to pick up whatever the amount.
That's a total loss, right?
Yes.
Total loss of the container or cargo?
Total loss.
Container.
It's the total loss.
iCargo Plus is only for
Only for container.
For us, it's the container.
Cargo no more already.
So my point is, so we have to sell the container to do that.
Yeah,
We take over already.
Consider.
We sell back to you.
Okay, so other costs associated to what they call it, visualization is also under you.
No, we only pay to the container value that is agreed. If it's a 20-footer GP, is 15, is 15. Anyway, this is, if there's no iCargo Plus, you will get 0 cents anyway.
No, I think.
Good try, Lenny.
Good try.
You don't understand what is to neutralize the container process, and I cannot neutralize the container in the terminal. So I think you need to cover the angle.
No, the processors they will cover.
PKA will not allow me to do that.
No,
Okay, you don't pay anything.
They will just buy and then they will do whatever necessary process. They will pay the 15,000.
Then they will do whatever to pick up the container.
No, I as a carrier must make sure the container is neutralized because it could be.
Yeah, correct.
But they're not doing it. That's what they're saying.
I think, let's be fair with them. You are not paying any premium, the merchant is paying. He's taking on the risk, he's covering you for the container loss, is very good really. Some want to cover for the consequences damage, they have to find out.
That's why I say, I will support the program, there's nothing wrong with
Thank
it.
you.
But I'm just saying that there's a lot of loopholes that is not clear. That you need to address it.
Yeah, like I mentioned, there is no perfect program in the world. What we can do is we can cover 80% of the problem at the moment as we go along. Please give us some time to improvise it. What we need to do is get it started and improvise later. No point of you get something perfect, but you take 10 years. Probably like what Mr. Hui said, next year, this thing never jalan. Me and Chua probably will be selling, it's about today, I will be probably selling wanton mee next to him. And if Kumar don't come, I will call him every day to come and makan. So just to support us.
That one I agree, that one I support, okay? But that's why I said sometimes when you publish this kind of thing, when you do a publicity, certain things you can say, certain things you cannot say. So it should be taken out of context.
We'll take note of that, thank you, Danny. Thank you. Yes.
What is the premium for a 20-footer if they buy the iCargo Plus?
It depends on the cargo, it's not the container value. The cargo value determines the rate, not the value, the type of container or the type of the length of a container.
Example, plastic scrap. What would your premium be like?
We don't want to cover plastic scrap. He's shivering already. He's shivering there. If I notice his hand, he's shivering. Because underwriters has specifically mentioned to us, not everything is covered under cargo. There are certain cargoes where they can cover, certain cargoes which we cannot cover. Because there's restriction to the insurance treaty. Because all insurance have a treaty. So certain things we can do, certain things we cannot do.
So which means that if we accept a booking, we have to know whether the customer has bought iCargo Plus or not.
When you accept a booking, the customer, you will be informed. If they say the customer, but you are a participating carrier, if the clients or merchant or importer takes up iCargo Plus, you will be notified immediately when the time they buy, because at the point they purchase, once payment is made, there will be an email sent to the carrier or shipping agents immediately.
Actually, that's my point for coming here, to understand the process. you representing the merchant, you cannot send a message to the carrier saying, I am now representing the merchant. It's not right.
Danny, just to inform, just because some of the merchant is a platform.
iCargo cannot.
You see, the Click Portal is just a platform for everybody to use. So it's not saying that we take over and inform you. No, it's a platform to notify the participating members on the particular issue. So that's why you will be notified that this particular cargo take up the iCargo Plus. Okay.
Okay, it means some carriers mention, how do I know whether this importer has iCargo Plus or not? So what we did in our system was, those who has purchased, then let's say the key in the liner is carrier A. So that particular thing will be sent, that particular details of that shipment or container will be sent to the respective carrier, that they can check. Or this customer, ABC Trading, they have iCargo Plus, so I don't want to collect deposits from them. So that is the purpose. Your case may be different because you don't collect deposit.
Actually, I'm moving from there already. I'm just saying that the notification from you cannot represent the merchant. That's what I'm trying to say here. Because my contract is between the merchant and the carrier, not you.
Okay. There is a handbook which is inside the handbook. No, it's a handbook. Another handbook say. There's your question. Okay.
Your question, I think, is more towards on the terms of reference already, which is handbook. We have another handbook. It's not what you have it now. That's why only participating liner will have all the details on that. I think we can take all these questions when we sit down with you on that. You don't mind?
Discuss if it's not on topic. Jimmy has a question. Yes,
Jimmy, please.
I think most of the chances when people want to purchase iCargo, they already have a booking. Chances are very high. Example, they book with me 10 bookings. The customer can decide I only buy 5. The other 5 I don't buy. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
So normally they will key in, I think they will key in your clip that, booking number, port pair, liner, whatever, in the clip.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes. So that's why some of the liner is starting to work with us on system integrations. Means that the third parties agree that this is a system integration. It will go back to Danny's question on that. When on the same platform, it's not saying that we inform you is on the platform itself. We agreed, merchant agreed on sharing the information under the PD, what we call the PD.
It's not on a per importer basis, but rather on a
per container basis, yes.
Consignment basis. So it's very clear notifications done on per consignment basis.
Yes, correct.
Any other questions from the floor?
Can you just brief the audience about the claims? How long it is going to take? I think it's going to be 14 days, right?
Insurance has a standard terms by Bank Negara. We will pay the claims within 14 working days for container. Let's put cargo aside. Not talk about cargo, it's nothing to do with us. 14 working days to be paid to the carrier. Online, no more checks, we don't issue checks. No checks, please. It's 1414. Upon full documentation, basically, it's not much. That's why we request for your support and your help assistance. You let us have your D&D rates, your repair costs. So when the claim processor check, if this damage is falls under this, then they will pay out faster rather than they have to call you guys and check again to verify. Then it will take longer time. So once we have that info, then it's easier for them to process.
And from liner's perspective, I have one more question.
Sorry?
From liner's perspective, I have one more question.
Oh, yes.
Can the liners, file themselves instead of asking the consignees to file claims?
File the claims.
You are having 2 options, right?
Yeah, you have 2 options. Either who can file the claim, whether you want the carrier you want the carrier can submit the claims or report the claim, or the importer or shipper can report the claims online. It's all online. You have a choice.
Better to make it one option. Because one option, let the carriers also they.
You don't want the carrier to submit claims. Oh yeah, all container claims are submitted by carriers.
They don't want merchant to submit. Concern, what is the concern?
No, merchant has to submit because when it's a cargo claim, or you're talking about container, right? Container is carrier. Carrier submits the claim, not them.
No, but you are giving two options, right?
That one is we will sit down and then take it out. That one is small matter. But what we have agreed upon is container claims, carrier or shipping agents submit the claim. You have the authority, and it's been there was a writing on that you will submit the claim. Full stop.
Say for example, total claim amount is 5,000 and the maximum what we can claim is 3. Which means 3 we need to get it from you and.
Then the balance you get it from the merchant. Yes. This you have a question.
No, the insurance is purchased by the merchant.
Correct.
But if there is a container damage, then the liner will be submitting the claim.
Correct.
Any more questions? I think we will take, running out of time, we'll take up maybe 1 or 2 questions on the floor if there are any. If not, then we're going to proceed to our next sections. Stephen.
Regarding that doubt, which I still see in you, we have asked that, excuse me, SAM task force has really emphasized on that in terms of the legality. So they say they have solved that because our contract is with the merchant, booking and all that. How come claims we can claim on the container damage straight to the insurance company or through the undertakers? So say there's no legality in that. SAM's task force has really drilled into that. The task force has drilled many times. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? They say sure.
I think we have
And
a letter
Trump,
also from.
Trump also say no problem. So that one is being taken care of.
So in that case, yeah, it is taken care of. But in that case, does it go back to the merchant? Let's say the container damage is because of merchant.
Oh, we will not subrogate from merchant. No. They are our customer. We don't do that.
Because again, it might come into the.
No, we don't. We have a letter in writing from the insurance underwriter to say clearly the carrier and shipping agents has the legal right to submit the claims, and the claims will be paid for container related will be paid directly to carrier and shipping agent. To stop, there's something in writing from the insurance company.
Because the container ownership is the carrier.
You own the container, so you have the right.
We are the owner of the container, so we have the right to claim.
Yes.
Of all these things happen to the containers.
Yeah, can I add on? Because you are the box owner. Basically, as a carrier, you also have other insurances in hand. You have your P&I and you have carrier liability. There are also certain other avenue that you can claim, which is not paid. It is not paid by this particular insurance.
Okay, if not, then we will proceed to our next sections.
Okay, thank you, members of the panel.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Part of Kua's presentation earlier, he did mention that prior to today's event, some carriers have already signed up the MOU. Right? So for this last part of the session, we would just like to hand the participating liners the iCargo manual so that we can proceed henceforth. We're glad to invite the first Costco Shipping Lines, Malaysia Sdn Bhd. MTT Shipping.
So all the terms of reference is inside the handbook here.
AML. Anyone from AML here?
ML not here, I think.
Not here, okay.
It's okay.
Malaysian Shipping Corporation Sdn Bhd.
Also not here.
Also not here. And Pacific Selatan Agency Sdn Bhd. They're together. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ooi. We'd like to invite Mr. Ooi to give a closing speech.
not so much a closing speech, because the thing is that I am sure that most of you agree this is a good product, as we have seen in the Exco. I see Mr. Kumar also nodding his head from the authority. But the thing is, today is only the first step of the journey of 1,000 miles. We are not going to see any change until we move step by step forward. And this change can only come about if we start to firstly talk to your principals to get their endorsement. And then very important, this product has to go out to the market. If your sales and marketing is not doing that, then there's no take-up. If there's no take-up, in 1 year's time, this product are gone, 100%. Because there's no population. There's no commitment from the industry to support it, so it will not happen. So we will lose a chance to have an alternative solution that could have worked, that could have been transacting for the industry, not just in Malaysia, but also in other countries. So I like to urge all of you, firstly, when you go back, brief your management, because I noticed that except for a few companies like Evergreen, where the President Curtis is here, most of your top management is not present today. So you still have work to be done. You need to convince them, they need to understand the product, and if you think that they can do a better job presenting that, please invite them. I think they are more than willing, am I right to say that?
Yes.
To go to your company and tell them what, brief your salespeople, brief your customer service, and your management, very important. Because if you don't have management approval, how to go up to the principal? So that is where I think the work is ahead of us. If you think that this is a good product, if you think that this can solve the industry woes in respect of protecting and mitigating the carriers' risks, as well as facilitating the ease of doing business with carriers, with the custom brokers, and doing away with security deposit by and large, then I think we need to start with the first step. As they say, the journey of 1,000 miles, start with the first step. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you for being here, for spending your Friday afternoon. Now you can go for your happy hour. Thank you very much.
And a round of applause to Mr. Wee. Certainly encouraging. Thank you very much. Thanks for your presence here today. Okay, enjoy your weekend. Thank you.